Warning, the Shekle Up Podcast is a podcast created by two ex-degenerates that think they know sports gambling and spent their younger days breaking bookies and never hedging. We are not experts on anything, and everything we say should be taken with a grain of salt. We do not condone illegal sports gambling, and all gambling should be done responsibly. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Now enjoy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Shekel Up Podcast, where we try to help you navigate the eternal abyss of the always stressful, mostly toxic, but very entertaining world of sports and sports gambling. I'm one of the hosts for this evening, Anthony, and from the Made on Ridgeway Sports podcast, we have Hunter Keister.
Let's go. Another week in sports. Let's get into it.
And we got the Risley Bear.
Hey, what a great weekend it was.
It was a great weekend.
It was a great weekend.
It was, unless you're Georgia.
Well,
Ouch.
Because you spent all that time getting beat, and then finally you stand up to daddy, and then you go...
Stepdaddy beat you.
Yeah.
Stepdaddy finds a way to beat you, too.
Yeah, you finally stand up to daddy, come back. You're even in the lead a little bit. Weren't they in the lead for a little bit?
they were.
Yeah.
Very end of the game.
Yeah. And then you go and you drop the egg, and you break
And then...
it.
Just in the fashion that they do, it's like you give up the bomb touchdown, and then one of the nastiest spin moves to collide both the Georgia defenders together to allow him to score that big touchdown.
By a child.
Insane.
By a child.
17 years old. 17 years old. And he's one of the best in the country right now at 17 years old. I think it's insane.
Yeah. I said, Eric, did you watch any of that game? Because we were at the casino.
I know. I missed it. I'm sorry. I wasn't able to be there. I did catch some of that. I did catch the very end of it.
That was a good part. That was
well.
that was
I went.
You know,
I looked down at my phone at one point. We were not in the house, and I looked down, and it was 21-0 Alabama, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess this wasn't the game we all thought it was going to be. And then, I go back on my phone about hour and a half later, and so it's a little bit closer than it was, and then get a little bit closer, and then finally I turn it on, and I just don't know what to take from this game, though.
Carson Beck is overrated.
Well, but what else? I mean, like,
Georgia really misses those defenders that they've been losing in the draft.
Yeah, 1,000 yards.
That defense is a big thing for me. Just how bad. I mean, you can't really expect them to keep it and keep the ball rolling after 4 or 5 amazing stout defenses, but like Tony said, they're finally feeling the effects of all those guys year after year. Just boom, 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 boom. NFL.
1,000 yards. 1,000 yards in total offense between both games on Saturday night. What does that? Are their offenses really that good? Or what does that say about their defenses?
I would just
How
say
about the SEC defense?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
what?
I mean that, and they're not allowed to. I mean, in football, you're not allowed to play defense anymore either. So, I mean, call me an old head.
At Minka Fitzpatrick.
I mean, I'll give Alabama credit. They held Georgia to 80 rushing yards. I mean, the difference in the game was definitely Beck's 3 interceptions. That didn't help Georgia out at all. But I'm just 173 yards rushing for Alabama. And 1,000 yards of total offense. I've never seen that before in a college game.
No, not in a college game, but let's see.
When's the last time you saw two teams accumulate 1,000 yards in professional or collegiate athletics?
I think the Eagles Super Bowl was pretty damn close. I think Tom Brady and Nick Foles had like both almost 400 to 500 yards passing each. I think that was like the last time I seen it.
Maybe.
And it's also been I think it's been one labeled probably the best, if not one of the best Super Bowls, if you're not a fan of either team. I don't know. That's probably the last time I seen something that bad. But then again, you could have been the Eagles defense allowing 1,000 yards over the weekend, but we won't talk about that just yet.
Yeah, we don't need.
Yeah, still sore about that. But
okay.
I will say, you got a quarterback in Milroe that can pass the ball when he needs and tries to pass it. I wouldn't call him a great passer or a good passer by any means because he's pretty much a running back. Kurt and Hunter scoffed at me when I said that Jalen Milroe is a 2024 version of Terrell Pryor. He's a more modern day version of it.
So Tim Tebow, more like a Tim Tebow, honestly.
Maybe he's not that big though. I mean, he's not as big as Tebow. Tebow is pretty large. He's more of like a fullback playing quarterback.
How big was Tebow? Was he 6'6"?
Yeah, at least
6'5"?
something like that.
Yeah,
He was
huge.
massive.
He was a
thick.
big man.
Yeah.
He is a big man, but
Yeah.
And thick. This is not big and thick. Big and thick.
Man, 1,000
That's
yards.
where we're going with that one, Tony. Big and thick. Oh boy.
Big and... Well, sir.
The Holy Spirit has blessed Tim Tebow. We'll say that.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah,
No, that's crazy.
I just think what does that say about both defense? Or were their offenses just that good? I mean,
I think you got to take it from both sides. I think that you got to recognize the great offense that they played. But I think that my biggest takeaway was how successful Alabama was despite not throwing the ball. Obviously, it kind of played into what Tony said about Milroe, but I just couldn't believe how I don't even know how to word it, how unfrequent their passing game was in that game and how much they were just willing to try to run with Milroe or run with the backs. And they didn't really have to pass to the very end.
Yeah, they must have seen something in the tape with that Georgia line, man, that you could just pound the rock with them, against them. And that's just, like I said, like we just said, not having them big boys up front anymore, getting drafted and leaving college for the big leagues.
are we comfortable still keeping Georgia as a shoo-in for the playoffs?
Yeah, they're not dropping past 12.
You don't think so?
Yeah.
No.
They got some tough games left.
They don't drop. I think that plays into it because if you drop close games, I think you're still ranked high, especially if you're comparing that to a weaker team with a weaker schedule. If they could fall to like, my prediction would probably be 8 to 10 at the very worst, but I think that would cause Georgia to lose at least 3 more games, and I don't know if I see that.
Speaking of which, let's talk about the dropping and the rising of teams. That win was a very good win for Alabama.
It was very good win.
It was.
Very
They
good
almost choked it.
They did.
They wanted to so bad.
How do they? This is what I mean, and this is why I hate college football. This is why I hate the AP poll. This is why I hate the NCAA. I will bash it. It is a corrupt league. It is so fucking stupid. Alabama does not deserve to be one.
I think is Alabama.
No,
Are they won right now?
Yeah.
I
They
haven't
jumped
looked at
them.
that much.
Yep.
Wow.
I thought
Alabama.
they put Texas in there, or Texas was one.
They were
Texas
one.
was one for like
and
a
they
week,
jumped.
and then Georgia, and now it's Bama.
That
Wow.
Bama jumped Texas. They do not deserve that. Texas has been
say.
covering.
After that game,
Texas has been
No way.
covering. Right now, they should have been at 1. They were at 1. And I'm telling you right now, nothing happened. 3 points were scored against them in the last game. They did what they needed to do. They almost won by 50. I mean, meanwhile, Alabama almost chokes a game away that they had a freaking 28-point lead in. I go,
how do you justify them moving up? Maybe stay the same, but definitely not moving up. You scrape by that game. In a game, like you said, you're up 4 touchdowns. I don't care who it is. If you're up to that lead, you got to be able to go into the second half, make your adjustments, and come out and at least win that game by 10 points. But like you said, they damn near lost it.
No, I mean, if I had to do rankings, it'd probably be Texas 1, Ohio State 2, and then maybe Alabama 3. I could get on board with that.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that right now.
I mean, until Ohio State loses or Texas, there's no reason to jump. Why does Alabama have to? I think if Alabama played Ohio State or Texas right now, I think Texas would mollywop Alabama right now because Alabama, all they do is run. They can't throw.
Yeah, right.
So meanwhile, Texas can do whatever they want with the football, whether it's Archie Manning or Quinn Ewers on the team. Honestly, I don't see it's that fucking SEC love that the NCAA jerks off to every fucking year, and I hate it. I hate it. There is absolutely no reason. Yeah, the Georgia win is a very good win. It is a SEC, conference win. It's that's always tough in the conference. They play each other every year. They're going to play each other every year. There's no reason that they should have jumped Texas. There was absolutely no reason, and that had me fuming this weekend.
That's what had you fuming, huh?
Yeah, that's what had me fuming.
Well,
Especially after the weekend, because that's when they usually come out. I do have a question for you guys. Should James Madison be ranked?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They are on a tear. They are on a tear.
All right.
And they're winning, but they're winning convincingly. It's not even like very close games. They're just beating the piss out of everybody.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They are just absolutely. I know it's just Sunbelt, but especially when you think about where James Madison came from, and then being down a level and coming up to Division I, and then still having this success, I think you can at least throw them a 25 spot.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think, Eric? Have you been paying attention to James Madison?
Not really, as I think most of America hasn't either. I will say this. I'd be very. They're playing team.
I mean, I will be honest.
Who have they beat? I mean, like who?
Here's the thing.
Who have they beaten?
We look at it now, and it doesn't look like it's that good of a win. But if you think about it, they beat a ranked team, and then they're beating the piss out of everybody. I mean, Florida State was ranked when they beat them.
No, you can't count Florida State.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Everybody.
It's hindsight, though. That's hindsight. But if you look at the time and place, week 1 of expectations, that's a good win at that time.
At that time.
Right. It's a good win at that time. And then they've just been beating the piss out of everyone. It hasn't even really been close in most games. It's almost, and like Hunter said, they come out and they go up to Division I. That's saying something. Sunbelt or no Sunbelt.
I'll say this.
Yep.
Do you see James Madison beating any of the teams in the top 10 right now?
To be honest,
that's not fair.
But
that's not fair.
Hold on.
I didn't say top 10.
On.
I said top 25.
Hold
I
on.
said 25.
You said, do they deserve to be ranked?
Yeah, not
top
not
10.
No, I didn't
Eric,
even.
that's
half the top 25. It's almost half the top 25. You're saying they can't beat.
I didn't even say
so
playoff
let me
team.
say this.
Okay. I'll make it easier. Is there anybody from 15 to 20 that you would put your money on? You would put your money on. You'd
most
put them
likely,
beating
I have to look at it right now. But
so you would put them beating Louisville, or you would put them beating Notre Dame, or you would put them
you don't want to
LSU. Come on, guys.
You don't want to hear my thought process.
Where I am thinking it's like, if we're gonna put them at 25, if we go from like 20 to 25 in the range that they realistically could be, I feel like there's 25, 24, 23 that they're giving a game to. Absolutely, they are this year.
I'm from a Sun Belt school.
They could beat. Honestly, they could beat.
What's the rest of their schedule?
They could beat UNLV or
Okay.
Texas A&M. Those are the bottom two. Those are tied right now for 25. Illinois, Indiana. Yeah, they could beat them too. Indiana's hit and miss. It depends on the time of year that Indiana's really playing. If they're playing good.
Eric, I got their schedule real quick if you want it.
He's reading it off. He's
Okay.
reading it off. Can't who else? Kansas State.
That's not their thing. That's who the ranks at the bottom of the top 25 right now. I think they could beat any of those teams any given weekend.
See, y'all are trying to sell me a big old lie burger.
But how did you ever watch a James Madison? Because I've watched a couple
I
of
have
games.
it, dude. Come
So
on.
you gotta
I
watch
have
them
it well.
play. It's like
I have it well.
I'll tell you what.
It's
I'll tell you what.
optics, bro. You could just see it.
I will table my opinion about James Madison, but I will go home tonight and I will watch highlights from their season thus far. But do
that, and then ask yourself the same question you asked us: if they should be a top 25 team.
Okay.
And realistically, because I'm not saying 15 to 20, I'm saying 20 to 25, exactly where I think that they would rank. And look at those teams. And like Tony said, I think they're giving a game to at least 2 or 3 of those right now.
Okay.
Okay, so Hunter, you said 20. You said 20 to 25, and 20 from 20 down. So 20 to 25.
Okay.
Kansas State, Boise State, Louisville, Indiana, Illinois, UNLV, Texas A&M. Boise State had a hard weekend this weekend.
Yeah, they were touchdown favorites at home and scraped by Washington State, who is not very
Washington
good.
State. You know what I'm saying? If Boise State's having a hard time with Washington State, a good James Madison team who's been rocking, that I've seen rocking, I think can do very well.
I'm gonna go off. Okay, like I said, I'm gonna go home tonight. I'm gonna watch some James Madison videos that I've never said that before ever in my life.
Nice. Nice.
I've never said that before in my life, but I'm gonna go home and watch James Madison videos.
Watch him get
Hell yeah.
sloshed. Watch him get sloshed this weekend.
Yeah,
Just
and we're hyping them up, and they're gonna get.
Who do they
They
got?
play like
Who do they
UL
got this
Monroe.
weekend?
It's like UL Monroe. I want to say. I just
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
like
it's UL
UL
Monroe.
Monroe.
All right, they're gonna win. They might win that game. guys.
That's
It's
the
a
thing. That
Sun
we're hyping
Belt.
them up.
Wait,
We're hyping them up,
guys.
and they're going to lose to UL Monroe in the Sun Belt.
They are a Sun Belt team, and while the Sun Belt is a fine conference to belong to with a lot of tough, scrappy teams in there, I let me go home and watch the video. I'll say this: if they're as good as you're saying, it sounds like they're a top 40 team.
Oh, I could say that.
They're a top 40
They
team.
might even
If that's
be.
what
They might already be top 40. They just don't put out the rankings that far down.
Yeah.
I mean, if you dug, you probably could find them.
Oh.
Like you'd have to really dig, but they really only put that number by the top 25. So
are we going to talk about any real teams tonight, or are we just going to talk about James Madison and their?
I hope.
their march
You
to
know
a
what?
national
Next year, I hope James Madison plays Notre Dame.
They're not playing Notre Dame next year. Okay.
That would be beautiful.
And
That would be glorious.
Watch 10 men roll out onto the field at the end of the game and James Madison pull it off.
Oh, you're just
not
being
10
you're just being sore
Oh.
now. You're just being
Yeah.
sore now because I'm making fun of your boys.
Throwing
You're just
them under
being
the
sore
bus.
because I'm making fun of your
Just
boys.
toss them under the bus, why don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. We'll give Eric his flowers because me and Eric were on the Minnesota train.
Yes.
Having them cover. Michigan still wins like we
Wow.
thought they would.
Yeah, they
but
did.
Minnesota covers. That was a great one. And then Ohio.
Oh, wait, hold on. We're not just going to pass by that Michigan
Right.
game without
We
even
can't.
talking about
I was gonna
it.
say you gotta let me.
Let me
let
tell-
me say something.
I'm going to let you talk, Hunter. I'm going to let you talk.
Go ahead.
I'm
Go
going
ahead,
to
you go
say
first.
this. I'm going to say this. That officiating crew needs to be in a confessional booth on Sunday talking about how they lied that man was offsides. He was nowhere close to being offsides, and that flag wasn't thrown until after that ball was caught. And you'll never convince me otherwise.
Must have been Chiefs, right?
That was the most Homer thing, call, what have you, that I have ever seen at a college football level. They were not going to let Michigan lose that game.
Eric, to debunk your first thought, as I will say, sitting here as a Michigan fan, I absolutely do not think he was offsides. What I will say is if you watch an onside kick, and this is like just basic football, Minnesota committed 2 other infractions prior to the offsides that they called that would have resulted in Michigan getting the ball back.
Did they call those?
No, they did not.
What call? And I promise, Hunter, I'm not trying to be mean or
No.
anything.
No,
But
I agree. They made the
what-
offside call, and it
There
was
you
the
go.
wrong call. But I think that after looking at the play, they could have picked a multitude of it, and they just picked the wrong one, or
So
the worst one.
So you're saying they just that because those infractions were caused or happened, that basically it's kind of a wash, and then the play just played out like it played, or the call was made that was made, right?
I hate that it was the offside, because I do think that the penalties that were, because I watched the play from start to beginning, obviously, as Michigan fans, we kind of had to plead our case a little bit. So watching that back, seeing the 2 other infractions that were made that are clear penalties on that onside kick play, I think that they made us look terribly and giving us a handmade offside call by maybe 6 inches, if you can even say that. And I think that if you looked at the play and you saw the other 2 plays, it would have been a clear as day penalty, and they just decided to call that.
Okay, all right, I can. But he was not offsides.
No, he was not. I'll sit here right now and say he was not offsides.
Ohio State covered, by the way. Just
About
wanna throw
time.
that out there. You know,
About time.
Just saying.
Yeah, I know.
That's all right. I mean, they looked like they weren't there for a minute. They are slow starters. I'll tell you what.
Oh yeah, Michigan State. Yeah, that was. I mean, wasn't really ever in doubt though, was it?
I wouldn't say that.
No. And then what's his name? Howard
Yeah.
or whatever. He gets hurt,
Yep.
and then the kid comes in, does pretty well. So babyface, man, he looked like he was 12 out there
Yeah,
throwing
I
football.
know.
I was like, geez, man, I'm looking old.
I'm pretty sure he's a freshman. That backup that came in.
Well, I know they said that's the guy that's going to take the reins next year. So
Yep.
that's what they kept saying over the commentary. Like, this is the kid that they're looking for, and he looked pretty good out there. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. Guys, Ole Miss and the University of Kentucky.
Oh, yeah.
That's the other upset. It was, even in the NFL, it was the weekend of upsets. I'll just throw this number out there. 6 upsets on the money line in the NFL in games this week.
Wow.
Somebody lost money.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
You're looking at it.
Well, trust me, you're looking at it too.
So, I mean, damn. Hunter, I love it when you call me Big
Right.
Papa.
I know that's right.
17-20. What? 17-20. It's bad to lose on that field goal.
I was
Just like
surprised Kentucky's defense held Ole Miss's offense like they did, because Ole Miss offense is very impressive out the gate this year. And it was very surprising to see Kentucky be able to, although maybe not too surprising. Kentucky, who you guys sound like you want to put on the level of a James Madison world beater school.
No, ever since Will Levis left, they haven't been the same.
I will say this. I think Kentucky played Georgia tough too. That came down to the end of the game as well. So
who
maybe
Kentucky reminds me of? It's
What's up?
fucking Purdue. Kentucky's the SEC Purdue.
They
They go into places and they just find a way to beat these great schools when they are such an average football program, and they're near the middle to the bottom half of the SEC. And once a year, it feels like you're finding Kentucky with a win like this, like they had against Ole Miss.
I would agree with that. They are the Purdue of the South.
Now, let me ask you a question, Eric.
Yes,
Notre Dame wins by 7.
they do.
Were you disappointed? Or were you happy with that win? It's a good Louisville team, man.
It was a good Louisville. Louisville is a very good team. They're a very physical team, and their quarterback's been is 25 years old, and he's played for 3 different college schools, and he's been in school for 8 years. That's not a joke either. That's the truth. He's been playing college football for 8 years now. I was happy. I still have major concerns about our offense and where it's headed. Part of me really thinks Riley Leonard has peaked as a quarterback.
I was just about to ask you what your thoughts on, because I have friends that are Notre Dame fans, and I follow a lot of just college football around the country, and a lot of people seem like they are, at the very least, displeased with how Riley Leonard has started out for Notre Dame so far.
I'll say, like, Hunter, I don't, like I said, I don't ever want to come on here and bash, especially student athletes, and especially ones that I root for a team that I root for, because I support them. And I support Notre Dame, and I want to see them do well, and I want to see Riley Leonard do well. I mean, but like I said, man, I really just believe Riley Leonard. Part of me really thinks that you've seen the peak of Riley Leonard. He's not that great of a passer, and and 90% of your offense is him pulling the ball down and running.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry, that's not going to get it done if you make your way into the playoffs. If you do, this is not an endorsement of Notre Dame making the playoffs. But if Notre Dame was to make the playoffs and you roll in with that kind of an offense where 90% of your plays are basically the quarterback has to make the play happen, I really don't know if that's a winning recipe for Notre Dame. But I was very happy with the win. I thought it proved that Notre Dame still has the desire to be a good school, especially with the school that they had struggled with in the last few years. And at the end of the day, you outmuscled a team that wanted to come in and beat you. And it was a huge win. Marcus Freeman, I think that was his 9th win against ranked teams. So far in his career. So it was a great win, but there's still I still have a lot of questions about who exactly this team is.
Notre Dame usually got some really good players that come in and out of the school. They really never have a quarterback, though, which is kind of weird. Like, because a lot of teams can find, especially the big dog, can find a quarterback that at least has some kind of success in college football. And I think Notre Dame just never has a standout quarterback. And it's weird.
I agree with that, and I mean, there's probably a problem when people are still talking about Brady Quinn and wanting to have a quarterback like Brady Quinn, and it's been 20 years since he played at Notre Dame almost. So
I don't know. I feel like the best quarterback since him that's come out is a kid from Toledo, from Central Catholic, that played with him for a little bit.
Deshaun Kaiser?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty decent. I don't know that him and Kelly really got along. I don't know, and I'm not. That's just whispers and innuendos that I've heard.
Right.
So I'm not saying that's a fact or not, but he was pretty good. Ian Book was all right. Jimmy Clausen, you know, but you're right, and that's why I was against Riley Leonard coming to Notre Dame. That's a personal opinion, because I feel like you have if you have Steve Carr, or I'm sorry, not Steve Carr, but Steve Angeli, and you've got Minchie and you've got Carr on the sidelines, and that's supposed to be your future. Why are you just not playing them right now? And if Riley was going to struggle this much, because you had to have some indication of it in camp, you had to have some feeling in camp that, wow, maybe he's not as good as we thought he was passing the ball. I think immediately, for the sake of the team, you should be starting one of those freshman or sophomore quarterbacks and just let him grow. Let him grow.
You know, with the transfer portal, it should be easier now to find something.
I know.
Somewhere. You know, that's what's weird about it. Maybe in a year or two they'll get it together.
No, Carr is the future.
Uh-huh.
They're the quarterback. That's your quarterback of the future. So, and I fully expect him to be your starter next year. So,
DJ Carr looked amazing. I went and watched him play in Michigan in Saline before they went to the playoffs. He's a Michigan kid. And I actually got to meet Lloyd Carr, who is his grandfather.
Yeah.
So that was
any relations
really cool.
to the other Carrs, David and Derek?
Lloyd Carr, yeah.
No, I'm asking. I don't know.
He's his grandson, isn't that right?
Well, what about David and Derek? That's what I'm asking. Are you related to them?
I don't think there's any relation, because
all
I've ever heard about is Lloyd and CJ.
See, I don't even know Lloyd.
That's trust me, he got offers from Michigan, Alabama, Georgia. That kid he's your guy. Well, he's your guy.
I think Riley Leonard was just a placement holder for this year and just try to take that team that has some players, but they know that CJ isn't ready to play Division I football just yet. He was your placeholder, and then I think that it's like you said, he had some really good offers. I was completely shocked, obviously, with the family connection. It made sense, but I was shocked that he didn't go to Michigan. But that was a huge game for Notre Dame, pulling him away from some really elite programs outside of Michigan, and he should absolutely be there starting next year.
Yep.
And staying on Notre Dame, they get a bye week this week.
You do.
So you get a little bit time to relax and recuperate and recover, and hopefully get the team back on track.
Don't have to stress out this week.
Michigan gets a bye as well. So nothing to worry about?
No, sir. Washington 7:30.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I scrolled down. Yeah. I could have swore. Okay, fine then, sir. Go ahead and talk about that, because I swear to God, I was looking at the lines and I'm like, I could not find the Michigan line.
Well, that might be because the line has absolutely flipped on its head. It started as a Michigan, I believe, a -3 favorite, and it's now went all the way to a Washington minus a couple point favorite at least.
Wow.
Especially with Michigan. Well, this is Michigan's first road game, and I think the entire country, along with the Michigan fan base at this point, knows that they can't really trust their quarterback farther than we could throw him, or he could throw it, because he doesn't really throw it too far. At this point, I think that it's their first road game. Washington's got a very foul taste in their mouth, obviously playing Michigan in the national championship game last year and losing that game. I think that they're going to want some revenge, and I wouldn't be surprised if Washington can go at home under the lights and beat Michigan with this offense. I have no faith in Alex Orji right now to confidently move the ball down, and that's what we saw against Minnesota. We saw a great first half, and then an anemic, awful, garbage, dreadful offense in the second half, and you almost throw the game away because of it. If it's not for your spectacular defense, you do throw the game away.
And it's that one-dimensional thing we talked about with that team. You guys, it's almost like It's like you guys don't have the quarterback with the arm, and you don't have the offensive line that Alabama does. So it's like you're a poor man's Goodwill Alabama team. You can't really throw it, even when you need to.
Yep.
And really, if that run game is beatable, the run game is still beatable when it comes to Michigan, in my opinion. So, yeah,
Because the offensive line isn't as good, and that's where it starts. That's where you get the push, creates the holes. I think Mullings is a great back. He started to come out and shine in that running back one spot, which I think he will officially take. Donovan Edwards just has looked a little. He's lost his speed. He kind of put on muscle, and I thought that it would kind of help him run harder, but it just hasn't. He doesn't find the holes like he used to, and he just seems like he gets eaten up. And Mullings has completely outshined him.
I think I can see why the line moved, because I probably would have saw that line and took the plus points too with Washington. And now, how much you say it's down to? A minus what now, Hunter?
I want to say when I saw it go from like -3, I can look right here. Give me 2 seconds.
No, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And I was going to say, you guys describing Michigan sounds a lot like Notre Dame.
I would even say Riley can throw it a little bit, though. 2.5.
2.5 right now.
I probably would still take that. A field goal, they would have to cover. I mean, I could see Washington covering that if they need to. Sorry, Hunter. I missed the ball on that one. So in place of the Notre Dame game, there's Miami of Ohio going to Toledo. Toledo's a 6.5 point favorite.
Toledo's got that.
Yeah, they've been on a tear. They've covered the last few weeks. I think they're out riding high. So yeah, I'm taking Toledo minus 6.5. What do you guys think? You guys good on that one?
I would take that.
I don't hate it. I think Miami's been very good in the past, but obviously their 1-3 record has shown otherwise this season, while Toledo has continued to be at least consistent in the MAC. 3-1 right now. Big wins over Mississippi State, and then I believe the only loss was Western Kentucky.
Okay.
So I'm not arguing with that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that image of Toledo and Mississippi State burned in my brain. It's
Yeah,
like I gotta go with Toledo. I gotta go with Toledo in this one.
I had to do a triple take on that, man. I couldn't believe my eyes. I had to like wash out my eyes. I was like, "Is that say Mississippi State from the SEC?"
Because Mississippi State actually covered last game, and I took the other team. So
okay.
No, it was Texas. Yeah, no, it was Texas. To get that Texas game I took, it was Mississippi State and Texas, and Mississippi State backdoor cover.
You think Toledo could beat JMU?
It would be an ESPN classic.
ESPN classic. ESPN. That's funny.
I'd watch it too. I would watch the whole thing. I'm really excited about watching my JMU videos tonight.
Come on, let's go. Let's go.
Speaking of ESPN classics, we have a slobber knocker, as Eric would say. Iowa is going to Ohio State. Ohio State is a 19.5 point favorite. I'm going to take the cover on that because it's under 20 points. Ohio State can score some points. Hunter said it last week. Their defense is not as good as Michigan defense, but their offense is almost as lethargic as Michigan's offense is. So I don't see Iowa being able to keep up with the points that Ohio State can score. So I'm taking Ohio State with the 19.5 points. What you guys think on that?
Not so fast.
Not so fast. Meep, meep. Roadrunner.
I was thinking more Lee Corso, but... So, Iowa, Ohio State, traditionally has always been a physical game. It's always been a tough game for both teams to play. Iowa has one loss. That was in a 1 point defeat to a ranked Iowa State team. They 21 points is the most points that Iowa has given up this season in any game. They are coming off a bye week. Now the problem is Ohio State has scored 50+ points in 2 games and 35 points, at least 35 points in all their games. So I think Ohio State probably has too many weapons. The line, 20 point favorites. for Big Ten rivals like this, and Iowa does have somewhat of a defense.
Yeah.
And you're still really not sure about Will Howard and what he really is.
Put the baby face in, man. Put him in now.
I would take Iowa in the points.
I think I would be okay with that if it was in Iowa, but it's at the Shoe.
Yeah, I understand it's at the Shoe, but like I said, Iowa plays Ohio State tough historically.
I think, and I'm going to be honest too, I think the last couple of years, this game has been in Iowa a lot over the years. So, and that's why, like, a few times, if you look at the stats that they played, I think that kind of affects it. Again, I don't fault anybody also for taking Iowa because obviously historically they always got a good defense. And yeah, Will Howard is a little on the fence. But Smith is ridiculous, man. Smith, he's got a couple of those catches that are just nasty right now. And the quarterback, man, just got to get it together. I don't know if it's nerves or what the hell. If he's just that just might be him. That just could be him. So we'll find out this weekend. Hunter, what do you think about this? We know that I don't know. You took Ohio State with the points last week, so
yeah, I run with Ohio State against a terrible Michigan State defense, and I'm actually on the side of Eric. I think that this game has been historically close. I will give you it has been in Iowa, which obviously favors them, home atmosphere, all that home crowd. In the Shoe, though, I think that a lot of people are going to want to ride this terrible Iowa offense and just automatically lay the points with Ohio in their offense. But I think the Iowa defense could at least keep it close for long enough to cover the spread of 19, 20 points. So I will be on Iowa this week.
All right. That's fine. I'm not going to argue with you. So I got a couple of random games. I don't know if you guys got any random games, but I am going with James Madison minus 16.5 against UL Monroe.
Beautiful.
That's going to be one of them. And then I'm going to go back to the MAC. It's a MAC attack. Not the K-MAC attack, but a MAC attack. The BGSU and Akron game. Akron, I'm taking Akron on the money line, plus 145.
Over outright. BG. Hot BG.
Yeah, hot BG's hot, but they got to cool down sometime. You know, you got to cool the iron eventually. And Akron has a pretty good defense. So I think they can stop BG, so we'll see. What did I take any of your games, man?
No.
You don't have to comment on these. I mean, you're more than welcome to comment on them.
I'm good. I'm good.
Because they're just the random picks?
I'm listening. Homie, I'm listening to you. Okay? I'm listening to you.
You're mad because I didn't take Notre Dame against the bye. Who's favored, by the way?
I'm taking the bye for sure. I'm taking the bye for sure. What?
You got some games this weekend for college?
Yeah, I do. I got my marquee game of the weekend, and unfortunately, there's not too many of them this weekend. But I'm really interested in that Missouri Texas A&M game.
Okay.
Now that's at Texas A&M. They're ranked 25th. Missouri's ranked 9th. Missouri's 4-0. Texas A&M is 4-1. Now Missouri does have to go to Texas A&M, and that's a pretty hard place for some teams to play. Not all, but some teams find it difficult to play there. And I was kind of looking at just kind of some notes from the game. Missouri's got Nate Noel, who ran for 199 yards rushing last week. You've got Texas A&M. They just coming out of beating Arkansas. They did cost me my parlay because they only won by I think it was 3 instead of the 5.
Oh, you got brave and did the points the spread parlay.
I did, and it cost me. How about that? Notre Dame. The first time I bet on Notre Dame, they cover the spread, but neither Georgia nor Texas A&M were able to do it. So it's kind of crazy, but the Tigers have won 5 out of the last 8 in these meetings. And, I really find it hard to believe that Missouri can go into Texas A&M and keep their number 9 ranking. And I'm going to pick Texas A&M.
We'll see. Didn't Notre Dame go into Texas A&M?
Notre Dame did go into Texas A&M, and they sure did. Like I said, some teams find it hard to play there, but not everyone finds it hard to play there.
All right.
There are some teams that can march right in there, and they push this Texas A&M around, and they plant their flag on the field and party right there in their locker rooms. Some teams are able to do that, others aren't, and I don't think Missouri is one of those teams.
All right. Nice, man. Good pick. Good pick.
Thank you.
Hunter, do you got any random games for this week?
Absolutely. I got two. First game I will take you to is a marquee Big Ten matchup from Lincoln, Nebraska, as Nebraska takes on Rutgers. Rutgers 4-0, Nebraska 4-1. Nebraska line -6.5 from home. I think they can cover that. Hand Rutgers their first loss. Get some momentum going. And then the second game is going to be Clemson taking on Florida State. Night game. Florida State is without their top quarterback, if you can call him that at this point, DJU, who will miss this game with a hand injury. And then Roydell Williams, their running back, will also miss this game, just undisclosed. So it seems like they're just having some problems there for the Seminoles. Clemson they've looked, I would say good. I won't say anything worse than good. But with the 14-point line and these guys being out, I usually don't like playing the injury when it comes to my prediction, but I can't see a way where Florida keeps this even close. So I'll take Clemson -14 for my second pick.
Makes sense. Plus, Florida State sucks.
Florida State's with DJU and Roydell Williams, they sucked. So
yeah, they're gonna extra suck. They're gonna suck hardcore.
At least that's what I kind of think. But then I also watch them come in with backups and play Clemson to a field goal game.
They will watch it. Yeah. The backup goalie theory. Speaking of,
exactly, that's what I mean.
It's time for Hunter's Hockey Hits on the Shekle Up Podcast, brought to you by Hunter Keiser.
All right, it's time to light the lamp. We have a little bit of hockey action, yo. So, Hunter, take it to the people.
Let's go. Got to get it started out. Preseason hockey. I think the NHL regular season started about a week away, but I just got to highlight this one game, these two players, and just talk about it. Rivalry game in the preseason, mind you. Montreal Canadiens, Toronto Maple Leafs. Patrick Laine, star for the Montreal Canadiens, takes an awful, dirty, low hit to the knee by, I think his name was something Chure or something. It was something Canadian, but this downright awful person. I have nothing. I can't believe you would do that. I don't know. It seemed unintentional, but just the way he hit him, it was bad. And why are you going for hits like that in one of the first games of the preseason? And now to make matters worse for that, it has been announced that Patrick Laine will miss the first 2 to 3 months of the season as he recovers from this injury. And I just think from a meaningless preseason game, just downright disgusting, awful. Prayers to Patrick Laine, and throw away that Cure dude and throw him in the trash.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of trash, I haven't seen anything, Hunter, but you pay attention to hockey and off-season hockey more than I do. Have you seen anything about the junior team yet? This drama that they were in from the Junior Olympics?
A little bit. Probably not a whole lot, but I definitely think I've heard that mentioned.
Okay,
I just wasn't on it more.
Well, no, I haven't seen if they're going to prosecute or if the players that have been picked up are out of that.
Yeah, I know. Yep, I know exactly. I know what you're talking about now. And I honestly, unless something's come out relatively recently, I haven't seen anything new. But I do know exactly what you're. I know what you're talking about now. But I feel like they're gonna push it under the rug. I feel like they're gonna.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like
I know what you're gonna say. They're gonna just try to sweep it away.
So I know you probably don't know what we're talking about, but unless you do, because I'm a Flyers fan when it comes to hockey.
I'm a Rangers fan.
Yeah. Okay. So did you hear the Flyers got a pretty good goalie in Carter Hart?
Yep.
Did you hear the drama with Carter Hart and some other players in the NHL?
I'm hearing it right now.
Yeah. So the U.S. team, junior team, back in 2020 or 2021, I don't know exactly what the date was, are accused of sexual assaulting a woman.
The whole team?
Yeah.
Five of them. One
five,
girl.
Yeah.
The whole team?
Yeah, five of the players on that team and one girl. And yeah, so
Brutal.
they were pulled
Just-
mid-season last year. So I was just curious because I haven't heard anything about it since it happened. It was a
I
big
could
thing.
be wrong, Tony, but I almost, just because we were talking about sweeping it under the rug, I honestly think that they came to some type of settlement. Now that I think about it, I think they ended up just coming to a settlement with that lady, if I'm not mistaken.
I guess repercussions for the players is something that I'm looking for, and I haven't heard anything yet. And I think that's kind of more or less what I'm thinking, like along the lines, like, God forbid, like they get to be in the NHL with no repercussions. So,
Right.
I don't want to hear that. We talked about it, 6 upsets, and we felt the repercussions of those in the NFL.
We did.
Aaron Rodgers is old, man. That's a bad one. You get spanked. I know, man. That's just
He looked bad.
Yeah, no, that's no bueno. The Bengals. Let's talk about this because we had a little bet, and you told me it's going to be a nice cushy ride for Joe Burrow and the Bengals. 20-point lead in the fourth quarter, and it was barely that. They ended up covering the spread. Winning by 10, 9.5. They covered the spread, although barely, just barely. But over in points, can you give Dalton and the Panthers some respect now?
No,
not even a little bit.
No,
Hunter.
What? Why am I?
Yes.
Why?
Yes. I mean,
Why?
Could it be a one-hit wonder backup goalie situation? Obviously, the only time will tell with that. But I like the way that Andy Dalton was able to come in off the couch and go out there and compete.
So, Eric, what is your beef with? I think he's got a problem with Andy Dalton. Maybe he was supposed to be drafted by the Bears.
What's wrong with Red Rifle, Eric? Come on,
Andy Dalton,
what's wrong with Red
Dalton
Rifle?
couldn't start for JMU right now. Okay, that's my problem with it.
He just started for Carolina. What do you mean? That's not true.
I just don't know where all this love for Andy Dalton is coming from.
It's not love for Andy Dalton.
It's love for Andy Dalton. You despise Brock Purdy, but you're putting Andy Dalton up on this pedestal that's all the way up here. And it's like, I don't get it. I do not get it. Oh my goodness.
Hey, listen, man.
Oh my goodness.
Man, 25 for 40, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception.
25 for 40 and what?
And you know what? It's woken up, and I picked this man up. We maybe should talk about this because maybe you should finally bring him up in the fantasy segment.
Who am I bringing up now?
Chubba Hubbard, man. 18 carries, 104 yards, and a touchdown.
Say like Rex Grossman or something.
DeAndre Johnson has woken up, 7 receptions, 83 yards, 1 touchdown. I'm just saying, with an actual quarterback that can throw it. Listen, Bryce Young is not a quarterback. Never was, never. I never said, wow, what a great pick by the Carolina Panthers. Never once said that.
No
Everybody, Hunter, Kurt can vouch for this. I hated the Bryce Young pick. I hated the fact he was picked over C.J. Stroud. If C.J. Stroud would have been picked over Bryce Young, Carolina Panthers would be a playoff team. And I'm just saying, like that's what C.J. Stroud would have did. As soon as Bryce Young was picked, I said that's stupid. That's dumb. I didn't understand it coming out of college. Didn't get it. But they have a capable, I'm not saying a complete or elite quarterback, but a capable quarterback in Andy Dalton now. And if you can't tell me that Andy Dalton's not capable, he's shown you that he's at least capable. I'm not saying go pick him up in fantasy and he's going to score you 40 points a game. Jesus. What, man? What? Say it. Say it with your chest.
Y'all go on. That's all I'm going to say. Y'all go on.
It's all right. You're a field goal.
Because one you're going to see real soon Andy Dalton train that you guys are just chugging on down the track on. It's going to derail. It's going to derail. It's going to dump toxic sewage over a town. FEMA's going to have to be called. It's just not sustainable.
Listen, I'm on the Red Rifle Express.
Right.
I just think here's the thing.
Should I go home and watch videos of Andy Dalton too? Is that what I have to do?
Eric, you might need to. You might need to at this point. You're not giving my guy enough credit. You might need to go home and watch you some Andy Dalton.
And I don't
After JMU though.
I don't hate on Brock Purdy for his
Dude,
his talent.
You're putting Andy Dalton up here and like Brock Purdy down here. And
Expectations
it's
and reality.
Not even a comparison.
If they listen,
It's not even a comparison.
Brock Purdy and Andy Dalton, if they were in the octagon, the Red Rifles winning every time. I'm just saying.
That's funny. That's funny. Look at Tony putting money on Andy Dalton to win the
That's
UFC
that's
fight
age
against
and
Brock
experience.
Purdy.
The redheads are crazy, bro.
Hey man, comeback player of the year, Andy Dalton. Book it.
Joe Flacco, didn't he win it last year?
Book it. Comeback player of the year. Book it. He can lead Carolina to the playoffs. Book it. Comeback player of the year.
Okay.
You guys are just
Okay.
haters. You're absolute haters. What caught your guys' eye this weekend? Anything in particular? Like that you were like, wow.
Wow was probably
Andy Dalton.
wow.
Of course.
Well, the Bears won. That was kind of a wow moment. I
That
mean,
was a wow moment.
That was a kind of a wild moment. Man, I gotta tell you, the Jets getting beat the way they got beat, because it kind of seemed like they were about to turn a corner. Like
Yeah.
it really seemed like they were starting to get it all together, and then, man, the wheels fell off, and the Aaron Rodgers cane broke, and it just, man. I got to be honest with you. I think the Jets are going to be looking for a quarterback with their first pick next year.
Yeah.
Other times caught up to him.
But see, that is completely on the New York Jets. That's completely on the New York Jets. Everyone told the Jets to not essentially trade for Aaron Rodgers. They traded away multiple, I think they traded away at least a second, if I remember correctly. And I think they gave up another pick as well. Why would you do that for a 40-year-old quarterback? That makes no sense. And then he doesn't play last year because he got hurt. Big surprise. And then he's coming back this year. You're talking about a 40-year-old quarterback who missed an entire year, and now and then missed. I'm pretty sure he missed camp to go on one of his little Oskiasa trips.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't think he left that trip. I think he's still on that trip.
He's still on the ayahuasca trip in the darkness retreat. His visit's gone. He's on the darkness retreat. He can't see anything.
I really want to know who in the Jets organization okayed this. I want to know why they okayed this. And I understand they were in win now mode, and it's very appetizing to see Aaron Rodgers sitting there and he wants to come to your franchise. But man, somebody's getting fired over this one.
I was going to say,
it has to. Someone's got to get fired over this.
My thing is, that's where I'm kind of going is, look at who they had before and look at their options in the current time compared to getting Aaron Rodgers who wanted to come to you.
Okay, that fair point. But still, man, I just making that kind of a move for a 38-year-old quarterback, and you know what kind of league we're in.
You know what they wanted to do, what they were thinking, and what they saw?
What, they were going to trade Aaron Rodgers?
No, they saw what happened with Tom Brady. They said, it doesn't matter if you're 40 years old and
absolutely.
you can still come. I'm dead serious.
They tried to compare the GOAT to not the GOAT.
Because here's the thing. If you look at, and I'll say this, and I've always said this, if you look at Aaron Rodgers in the regular season, he's one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the regular season.
Absolutely.
Even maybe better than Tom Brady in some cases.
Absolutely.
In the playoffs, he just
every year.
With great teams, great defenses, good offenses,
I think
never could get over the hump.
I think he won the one Super Bowl that he has because he had a talented team around him, and the defense. The Charles Woodson was on that defense. You know what I'm saying? So it was pretty damn. AJ
Hawk.
Not AJ. Matthews.
Clay Matthews.
Yeah, AJ Hawk and Clay Matthews. I don't know if Hawk was on there or not.
I think he was.
I don't know if I don't know. I don't remember. It was so far back.
He
it
would
was
have
14 years ago.
Clay Matthews and AJ Hawk played together for a majority of their career, I believe.
Did they? Okay. So you're talking two great linebackers, a great Hall of Fame corner safety that they moved him to.
Yeah.
You know, And then Aaron Rodgers. You still had Greg Jennings, who was an immaculate receiver. A couple. I think they had. I don't know who the running back. I'm pretty sure that was it Lacey as a running back then. Not quite sure, but either way, a good team around them.
Yeah.
I don't think you can write off the Jets. You really should never. I don't think you should ever completely write off Aaron Rodgers. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But when I saw that last Sunday, and then you look at, he really hasn't looked that great all year, and the offense really hasn't looked that great, and it's sort of like, are we starting to kind of figure out who the Jets are, or do they got one? That's the real question as we kind of head into the, I guess it'd be the second part of the season almost now.
I mean, I hate to say it too, man, and don't take this personal, but the Jets are the East Coast Bears. They really can't ever find a quarterback. Good defenses over the years. You know what I'm saying? But they really got nobody to ever really throw the ball. Yeah. You know what your problem is? You like teams who can't throw the ball.
I know, especially this year. Yeah. Maybe I should start liking JMU.
I mean, you might as well. You might as well get with the Dukes.
Stupid, doesn't it?
You might as well get with the Dukes.
Stupid.
Come on, Eric. You might as well. You might as well get with the Dukes.
It sounds stupid, doesn't it? When you say it out loud.
No, absolutely, absolutely, it does not.
All right, okay.
JMU is my favorite college team.
I'm sure they are. Okay, there you go. They're mine too. Watched them since I was a little kid.
Moving on to one of the things that I can't believe in. I can't believe that the Eagles let up 250 yards of offense and 21 points to Baker Mayfield, and their offensive stats read 0 in passing and -3 in rushing. That was a stat line. At one point. But yeah, that was god awful. That's mine. Hunter, what was your wow of the weekend?
So I guess I kind of had a couple. Eric took the one because the Jets. Honestly, that was just pitiful. 9 points and a 9-12 loss over the Broncos, where Bo Nix finally throws his first touchdown pass 4 weeks into the season. Yikes. Awful. Minnesota having that massive lead and then giving it up to Green Bay, letting them come back in the game was pretty crazy to me.
You think the Jets are mad about giving up Sam Darnold yet?
No. Because he didn't produce there.
Is it because he's a redhead? What is it with you? What is it with you and redheads, man? You don't like Andy Dalton? You don't like Sam Darnold?
He doesn't like redheads. He doesn't like redheads. What do you got against redheads?
Let's check. Is James Madison's quarterback? Does he got red hair? Because that might be the
God.
Oh my God.
He really might.
Oh my God.
Continue, Hunter. Continue.
Absolutely.
James Madison.
So I will say the Saints lose in typical Saints fashion. Game-winning field goal. They give up a PI call to put the Falcons in position, and they lose a game that they absolutely should have won. Typical. The Commanders have absolutely shocked me. I have been really high on Jane Daniels since he got drafted. I even took him pretty early in my fantasy football league this year, and he's done pretty well for me thus far. I also had Rodgers as my backup, and he's just set the pine the whole year. Probably end up dropping his ass pretty soon. But Jane Daniels, 42 points in a 42-14 win over what I thought would have been an up-and-coming Cardinals team. So that definitely shocked me. And then finally, just Harbaugh and the Chargers keeping that Chiefs offense at bay and keeping that to a 17-10 game where they almost won.
Stupid shit, too. I'm so fucking tired of the Chiefs. And we get to fucking watch them on Sunday or Monday night again. Like, stop
it. It's Monday night.
It's Monday night. Yeah, it's Monday night. And it's at Arrowhead, by the way. So you know they ain't got no chance.
That's not going to be good.
Is it noticeable yet? Like, is it really noticeable
yet
with the referee?
It's noticeable.
Go, bro.
I think I'm the best to answer this because I'm a casual NFL fan. I have no bias. This is absolutely 110% noticeable, bro. What are we doing? What are we doing? This is awful.
Chargers are beating them down for like 3 quarters of football, and then the refs go, "Oh, time to clock in,
dude." Check.
That'll be enough.
Check the Chiefs' score from this year. I was looking at this today. They've scored, I think, over 20 points. Now they're 4-0, but they've scored over 20 points. I think like twice. in 4 games. And most of their victories have been like by 3 or 1 point. I'm almost positive about this.
You're pretty close. So what we have here is we have the Chiefs and Ravens, so almost 30 points, 27, 26, 22, 17. So like they're gradually going down.
And they're still winning games. What is going on here? Like
they legit are going down.
What is going on here?
Each
Like
game. Oh, that's funny.
That one hurt. That one hurt for Harbaugh and the Chargers to be that close, to keep it that close, and to lose that game like that. Heartbreaking.
Go ahead, man. You go ahead, say it. We got.
No, I
just look sad.
I was just gonna say, like, you know,
at least can we mask it well? Like, can we just mask?
Can we try?
It's
can we at least
stupid.
try and mask it a little bit? I don't even think we're trying to mask it a little bit at this point.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane, and I have no idea. Like, they have the ugliest jerseys. They have one of the ugliest stadiums. They're like, there's nothing in Kansas City.
I was gonna say they got one of the ugliest cities. There's nothing.
Do you know what's in Kansas City? Do you know what's in Kansas City?
Fields.
Nothing. Corn. That's what surrounds Kansas City.
It's Ohio, is what you're saying.
It's Ohio. It's just cornfields.
It's Central Ohio.
And somehow the NFL has said, you know what? We're going to take this medium market team and we're going to just let them run roughshod over everyone. We're just going to do it. We're going to create a market in Kansas.
And it's not even scripted anymore. I don't even think there's an NFL script. It's just it's WWE now. Okay, so you're gonna win the title, all right, and we're just gonna keep it going.
You're gonna go 3-peat because we want you to.
Because nobody's done it in 20 years.
It's not like the Chiefs are like, if you could hide behind the fact that, like, oh my God, Patrick Mahomes already in 4 games this year is putting up MVP numbers, or Xavier Worthy just came out of nowhere and, you know, he's leading the league in touchdowns.
Oh, he will eventually.
Yards or yards caught. He might eventually, but I'm saying right at this point right here, or that
because Rice is gone now.
Right. But dude, you can't say that about any of the Chiefs players. They're doing this with guys that are not putting up any outstanding numbers. You're doing it, you're playing really close games, and you're 4-0.
And you shouldn't be. They should have lost to the Ravens, and they should have lost last week, in my opinion.
I mean, Kelsey's not doing anything.
No.
Mahomes isn't really doing anything.
No, him and Jalen Hurts got about the same stats. He might even be a little worse this year so far.
What are they doing that's like, I don't know.
It's all defense, baby. It's all defense, I guess. It's all Chris Jones.
It's a sham.
It's
a sham.
It's all Chris Jones. No, the defense is legit though. And Spagnuolo is a really good defensive coordinator, so I understand it to an extent, but he's not so good to where they should be 4-0, not doing anything in this league so far. So I don't know. We're probably gonna get hassled on this.
I don't care. It's. I'm already waiting for the JMU fans. I'm already waiting for them. I know they're coming after me. Bring it, JMU.
Fantasy football is my religion.
All right, so it's that fantasy football segment, and I'm sure when it comes to fantasy, we're definitely talking about JMU because it'd be a fantasy land if it would ever be ranked. But continue with the NFL Fantasy League there, Eric.
Well, these are all our top 3 fantasy players for the week. First off, you need to start getting on the Justin Fields train because that thing is starting to roll. And he's going to play a Dallas team that is without Micah Parsons, that is without Lawrence. And I think it's a team that's very susceptible to a mobile quarterback. So I'm going to say Justin Fields needs to be locked into your starting lineup this week. Another guy, I went quarterback, running back, wide receiver. The three most important positions in fantasy. But I really want to see. The second one is a running back from the Chicago Bears. His name is DeAndre Swift, who finally showed up to play football last weekend. Woo. Crazy. Put up 24 fantasy points.
A different kind of Swiftie.
And he's going against the Red Rockets Carolina Panthers. I look for him to do a red rocket of his own right to the end zone. Yeah. So definitely have DeAndre Swift in your lineup this week. And finally, DK Metcalf with Seattle Seahawks going against the New York Giants. And just because I think the Giants are that far in the trash can, it wouldn't hurt to start one of the best receivers in the NFL. So I would take DK Metcalf as one of my starting wide receivers this weekend. And that is the three most important fantasy players, all of whom could not, which unfortunately all three of them could not play on the mighty JMU Dukies.
No, they wouldn't.
They wouldn't make it.
No.
They wouldn't make it.
No, they probably would. They'd lose their scholarships because they'd be so bad on that team.
You remember that Hall of Famer that came out of JMU? Wait, what was his name? It was a Hall of Famer that came out of JMU.
His name was James Madison.
Was it James? It was James Madison. No, you know what?
He was in a big house.
No, that was a president. Wait a minute, hold on.
You said Hall, White House.
But who was that one player that came out in the draft for JMU last year? What was his name? Oh, that's right. Nobody came out of JMU in the draft last year, no one's currently in the Hall of Fame that went to JMU.
Eric,
that's right.
Do you believe in karma? Do you believe in karma?
I do believe in karma.
You know, JMU is going to play Notre Dame sometime in the future.
Only have to fear karma when you're lying, and I'm not lying, so I don't fear karma at all in this situation.
I don't like this negative energy. Let me ask you something, because you've talked about like who we should. Is there anybody who you think people should drop? Like anybody you thought maybe good production, and aside from Andy Dalton,
I would give it another week on a chain, because he has not done well the last 2 weeks. Quentin Williams really hasn't done anything as why for the Chargers really hasn't done anything. I am a little bit surprised. I think Darnell Mooney would be a good pickup. Yeah. I think the passing game in Atlanta is starting to get going.
And London's been balling out.
Yeah,
too.
and so I mean I would pick up Mooney, and I would definitely if no one's picked, and I would really start to think about starting Rome Odunze, because he is starting to. I mean he's on the field a lot.
Yeah.
And Caleb is starting to look his way.
Okay.
So
I will say, we talked about this when we had our draft episode. And you guys kind of were with me a little bit.
You're taking that JMU player, right?
Well, hopefully he's maybe I don't know what their tight end looks like, but the death of the tight end is the death of the tight end in fantasy football a real thing now? Can we accept that now that we've seen Travis Kelce and Dalton Kincaid and
Mark
Andrews?
Yep.
Yeah, just no production out of any of the tight ends this year. I mean, Dallas Goedert had a couple of good games, but
dude, where is all of your money? Where the majority of the time is your offense's money? It's outside the quarterback, right, on his right, to his right and to his left. It's not the guy that's a part blocker, part receiver.
Right, and I understand that, but I mean, tight ends used to be a big thing, and like I mean, they have a position in fantasy for a reason, but it's almost time to just nix the position and put a second flex in there.
Yeah, I could see that argument of doing that.
If you can get your hand on the one good tight end for the year, you might as well. And then if you can't, you use a flex.
Yeah, it's saddening.
And I do play in a couple leagues where you don't have to pick a tight end. Like you can wide receiver, running back, tight end.
Yeah, I thought about doing that this year because I'm a commissioner for my league, but just keep things interesting.
I just can't wait to get that Heisman winner out of JMU.
Man, he's still in that.
It's coming, Eric. Don't you worry.
Is it? It's coming this year?
Maybe not this year.
I'm looking.
Maybe not this year.
Oh, not this year. Oh.
Maybe not. Maybe
so.
Maybe so. Hey, maybe so.
They could find out that all birds are drones in this next coming year.
You say whatever you want about
they really could.
Look, on this podcast, here's all that matters when it comes to JMU. They cover.
You better hope to God they don't lose this weekend. You better hope
to UL Monroe. So we got. Well, I don't know. Let's talk about presidents here for a second. Monroe versus Madison. What's going on here? Who is the better
Madison
president?
wins every time. Madison wins every time.
This. Oh man, jeez. Okay. You know, in 100 years, I can't wait to drive down Obama Avenue.
I can't either.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
This is Sparta!
It's the K-Mac attack.
All right. No K-Mac today, but I'm going to take that over because over the weekend, and I've kind of been saying this, you guys know I'm not the biggest Jalen Hurts supporter sometimes. I believe he's a good quarterback. I don't believe he's a great quarterback. I believe he needs talent around him just like Brock Purdy does.
You want Andy Dalton. Just say it, bro. Just say it. You want Andy Dalton on the Eagles.
It's a high possibility if he gets to run a little bit. But I get online and I sit there and I see all these people going, oh, it's Hurts. Just give him time. He doesn't have A.J. Brown. He doesn't have Devontae Smith. Yada, yada, yada. Blada, blada, blada. Don't care. Don't care.
Do not care.
I don't. You know why I don't care? Because he's been in the league for 5 years now. 5 years. Okay? So what I went and did, because everybody's like, oh, you know, he needs talent, you know, you can't, nobody else did any good or any better. And I'm just like, if you take every quarterback, no, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen are proving you can do it without talent around him. Who the fuck does Josh Allen have? Right? So I went back and I said, you know what, let's go. There are 3 really good career quarterbacks for the Eagles. Donovan McNabb, Carson Wentz.
Really good.
And
Stop it.
And Jalen Hurts right now. 5 years. Michael Vick was only with us for 3 years. Michael Vick doesn't count. So if you want to give me Michael Vick, go pound sand.
Carson Wentz has red hair, by the way.
Oh, here we go.
So look, check this out. All right. So I went to Donovan McNabb. Seriously, year 2000. All right, 58% completion rating, 3,300 yards, 21 for 13 on touchdown and interception ratio, 77 passer rating. All right, does that make sense? I'm gonna give you 2001, 57%, 3,200 yards, 25 and 12, 84. 2002, 2,200. He was hurt this year. This is when Garcia came and took over in the playoffs. 2,200 yards, 58% completion rating, 17 for 6, 86 rating. 2003, 57, 3,200 yards. So he's averaging 32 to 3,800 yards with about close to sometimes roughly 28 to 30 touchdowns. The year that he had T.O., and this is with Donovan McNabb with talent. So let's keep in mind. The year with T.O., 3,800 yards, 31 for 8, 104.7.
31 for 8?
Yes.
Wow.
So you want his wide receivers before T.O. Those numbers aren't bad. Todd Pinkston, Mitchell, James Thrash.
Who?
Those are yeah, exactly. Who? Okay. All right, Hunter. I know you sit there and say Carson wasn't that good, but let me give you these numbers. Ready? 2016, rookie year, 2016.
It's one good year.
Okay. 2016, 3,700 yards, 16 to 14, 79 passer rating.
He was 16 to 14 that year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
okay.
Wide receivers, Josh Huff, Dorial Green-Beckham, Nelson Aguilar, Jordan Matthews.
Awful.
Right. 2017, 3,200 yards, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, a 101 passer rating. Alshon Jeffrey, Torrey Smith, Nelson Aguilar, Mac Jones. 2018, 3,000 yards. He got hurt this year. 3,000 yards, even though he was hurt. Nick Foles took over the last couple games. And then, so both 2017 and 2018, he was hurt for the last 3 games. So that he didn't even finish the season. 21-7, 102 passer rating. His receivers were Jeffrey, Ertz, Nelson Aguilar, and J-Matt. 2019, 4,000 yards, 27-7, 93 passer rating. His receivers were JJ Arcega-Whiteside, who? Zach Ertz, Nelson Aguilar.
It only
Greg
got worse. That's crazy.
Greg Ward, and Deshaun Jackson. Those were his receivers. 2020, 3,000 yards, 16-15, 72 passer rating. His receivers, Travis Fulgham, Greg Ward, Jalen Reagor, and Deshaun Jackson. Those are his receivers.
So it progressively got worse. We can all agree with that. That his receiving core, while not good at all, progressively got worse throughout his career. Absolutely.
Dude, his best year for yards passage, 4,000 yards. With J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Zach Ertz, Nelson Aguilar, Greg Ward, who was on the practice squad, and an 80-year-old Deshaun Jackson. Okay? All right, now let's go to Jalen Hurts. Hold on. Year number 1, 3,100 yards, 16-9, 87 passer rating. Devontae Smith, and Jalen Reagor, and Quez Watkins. So, okay, Devontae Smith's a good receiver. Devontae Smith clearly is better than any receiver that you can't argue with me that Devontae Smith's not better than any receiver that Carson or Donovan McNabb other than T.O.
110%. He's easily,
okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
2022, 30. Then this is the Super Bowl year. 3,700 yards, 22-6 for touchdowns and interception, a 101 passer rating. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins. Two receivers that are just the best, and he still didn't hit Carson Wentz's peak with Travis Fulgham and Greg Ward. 2023, 3,800 yards, 23 of 15, 89 passer rating. Still, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. He is right there with Carson Wentz with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Meanwhile, Carson Wentz and Donovan McNabb have garbage, other than Donovan McNabb having T.O. You tell me what receivers Carson or Donovan McNabb have had other than T.O. that they did all put up all those numbers the same as Jalen Hurts, if not better.
Yeah. And honestly, when you look at Carson Wentz's career with the Eagles, I think he had a couple mid-years, but he honestly did play a lot better than I gave him credit for when he laid the numbers out like that. I think that what's alarming to me is Jalen Hurts just turns the ball over a lot, and you just didn't see that with Carson Wentz.
No, well, you did, and see, the thing is, and it's kind of like optics, and I understand it, right? It's optics because sometimes in bad moments he did, but that's because he was like Brett Favre-esque. He would try to push for something. So with that happening, you're going to get interceptions. But what I'm saying is that when I say Carson Wentz with this team would be better, you're going to sit here and tell me with the numbers I gave you with the receivers he had that if the franchise did not fail him, and they gave him A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, they chose Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. That is a legit thing. That's not hindsight.
Yep.
We didn't know Justin Jefferson was going to be this good. We knew exactly who Justin Jefferson was going to be, and they chose Jalen Reagor.
And then you look at Jalen Reagor, even in college, though, like comparing the two, Jefferson, LSU, Joe Burrow, amazing. Jalen Reagor, what did he play? TCU? Yeah. He hardly did anything in college. And I remember that pick specifically. I remember the year and all that. I was just absolutely baffled because I'm literally sitting there like, and I watch college football like that. I'm like, this was not the right selection if you wanted a receiver.
So, Hunter, you gave me shit because you say that I'm a Carson Wentz apologist and that I always say I like him. With those numbers, can we take that sentiment back a little bit? Just a little bit. Because
I will give you a little bit. Like, I think you still ride the wagon a little bit too hard. But I will, like I said, I think that his stats were better than I would have given him credit for, especially for what the Eagles put around him.
And running back by committee. They didn't give him Saquon Barkley either.
Right.
So give him Saquon. And that's all I have ever said.
Yeah, think about that. Think about that, though. A running back like that with Carson Wentz who is starting to show how he can put the ball on the field. And especially you think about the Eagles running game. Who they even play? It was a whole bunch of nobodies like the receiving core.
Yeah, and maybe you're right. I do push it a little bit, but had he not done the 14-2 season, there'd be no Eagles Super Bowl. So yeah, that's going to stick with me a little bit. But that's why I also threw Donovan McNabb's numbers in there. They're roughly the same as Jalen Hurts with nobody. And the other thing with these Eagles fans is they gave no excuses for Donovan or Carson. There was no excuses to absolutely nothing. There wasn't no give him time. Oh, he doesn't have this receiver, doesn't have that receiver. Jalen Hurts gets that treatment on a consistent basis. We need to start holding him accountable is my point when I say that. I go, we didn't give Carson a chance when he didn't have any receivers. We didn't give Donovan a chance when we didn't, there was no reason, no excuse. It was, hey, you have to play better. This is Jalen Hurts' 5th year, and he's got 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. It's not good. Not a good start. Eric, you look like you're ready to comment. Go ahead, bud. No, what do you got?
No, I'm just sitting here listening, and I don't think I really understand until you explain the context of why you read out all those numbers. Did I really understand what your point was? Because at first it sounded like you still wanted Carson Wentz to be your quarterback.
No.
Which my question was, well, then why didn't the Eagles keep him?
Optic. Well, if I had to answer that honestly, one, they chose the coach over the player.
Okay.
They got rid of Carson first, and then they realized it was a Doug problem.
Okay.
And then Doug is, as you see, is not doing well in Jacksonville.
Okay.
And then you can't just go back and undo the trade. And I'll admit, and somebody had a good point. What's Carson done since he's left Philly? That's a good point.
Where is he playing?
Right now he's the backup for Kansas City.
I thought he was the backup for JMU.
He
might as well be at this point.
But what I will say is they're absolutely right. But I'll go and point. Some players just play well in certain places, in certain scenarios. Like look at Jared Goff. He was mediocre in LA. Now he found his home in Detroit.
Right.
Look at Nick Foles. He left Philly after going 27-2, putting his cleats in the Hall of Fame for throwing 7 touchdowns in one game on the Eagles. He leaves, does nothing, comes back and wins the Super Bowl. So, some players are just comfortable, in certain spots. So, I mean, that would be my thing. I'm not saying let's go get Carson back by any means, but I'm saying it's not outside the realm of possibility if the Eagles do bad this season that we're looking for a quarterback.
Well, and I will give you this. If Jalen Hurts could play a lot better.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the entire Eagles offense could play a lot better, though. I mean, Saquon Barkley has really been the most outstanding player so far. And I understand A.J. Brown's hurt. He's been out since week 1.
Devontae Smith was out last week, too.
And Devontae Smith was out last week. And anytime you lose a player like A.J. Brown, that hurts. That hurts your offense.
Yeah.
He's a very dynamic player. But you're right. I think Jalen Hurts could play a little bit better, and he really could prove himself here,
right,
especially in year 5.
And just stop the excuses, Eagle fans. Stop the excuses. Don't give me the A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I mean, because even with Devontae Smith, they only scored 15 points against the Saints. And he had 3 turnovers. Red zone turnovers have nothing to do with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith being out. Throwing the ball in the end zone in triple coverage across your body has nothing to do with the talent of your receivers. That has everything to do with the head of your quarterback. So, yeah, that is my K-Mac attack, or, the Annie up Anthony attack. It just hurts my heart. And I'm glad that Hunter got some numbers, because I always bring up Carson Wentz, and, he's like, he's an old man when it comes to it.
Wentz wagon.
Dude, remember that? Remember the ex-girlfriend at B-Dubs when we were playing Pittsburgh? Her and Kurt were fucking just so pissed at me.
Oh, dude, that was funny. I know exactly. I can think about the day, because you.
That's the day the Wentz wagon was born. Choo choo.
Yep,
All right, so
yep.
let's get into the Thursday night football wagon, which actually Thursday night football hasn't been too bad.
No, it's been pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it. And I think this is going to be an entertaining game. Tampa Bay at Atlanta, -1.5 for Atlanta. Telling me it's going to be a close game, because I don't think Vegas really knows what either of these teams are, because they probably should have lost the Philly game. And I think Vegas thinks that Tampa Bay isn't as good as what they did to the Eagles. So I think they're kind of in a rock and a hard place. So this is a very low line. That's a Tampa Bay line for sure, because they're a away team. But I don't know, Eric, what do you think about this game?
I think it's going to be a competitive game. The Bucs are 3-1. Falcons are 2-2. The Falcons are 2-1 at home versus the Bucs, who are 0-1 on the road. But that loss to the Broncos, that 26-7 loss to the Broncos, that just really kind of zings me a little bit with the Buccaneers. And the Falcons, I think, are playing a little bit better.
Yeah.
Especially after, they beat the Saints by 2 points last week. It was a really close game, but I'm just not a big Baker Mayfield believer. And
is it because he plays for a red team? Is it something with you in the color red?
No,
because you're hating on me and my James Madison. I'm wearing red today. Hunter. I think it has to.
I thought they were purple and white. I thought James Madison was
No,
purple.
but they got a red hair coach. I don't know if they got a red hair
Oh.
quarterback. I was just going off of the red.
Uh-huh.
They probably do at this point.
Yeah.
You might as well chalk it up to that.
I'm curious to see how the Bucs can contain the Falcons' passing game, and I'm curious to see if the Falcons can play good enough defense to contain like Mike Evans. But I am going to go with the Falcons. I'm going to go with the Falcons, and I'm going to take the points because I think they could cover a 2.5 point spread pretty easily.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would go with the Falcons on this one.
And I think I'm with you on that. Kirk Cousins seems to be playing better each game. That injury is healing up nicely. He's getting more comfortable on it. And with that, I think he is happy there. Minnesota's a weird place to be because they can be a good team, but let's face it.
Get rid of them.
Let's face it, though. Minnesota's a very cold, boring place in the wintertime.
I believe that it would be. Yes.
And now you're in a dome still. Atlanta, it's a nice city, nice state, nice environment. So, and they got young talent. It's not getting old. Even their defense is young. Minnesota's defense was getting old. That was half of their problem. He put up 4,000 yards in a season, and that defense was just falling apart each time. So, not that Atlanta's any kind of world beaters like the Jets or anything, but I think Kirk can cover that 1.5 spread.
Well, you know why he's playing so well? Because if he doesn't, he's got Michael Penix, a first-round pick, sitting on the bench next to him.
And and it's with Michael, I think it's not Kirk Cousins wouldn't be a bad quarterback to learn from. He's smart. He's always got stats and numbers. He doesn't have the athleticism that most people, most of these quarterbacks nowadays do.
You don't need it all the time. You really don't.
And I think that'll be good for Penix, honestly. In my opinion, I think that him learning like the quarterback side of things from Kirk Cousins is going to be good, and then using his athleticism once he takes the reins, because eventually he's going to take the reins. That's why they drafted him in the first place. So, it's kind of cool. I like to see him do well, and I don't hate Atlanta as a team or anything like that. I don't hate Kirk Cousins, even though he was originally drafted. But even Kirk Cousins, his career's been off. Let's not forget, he was the second quarterback drafted in the same year on that team.
I could see weird scenario here. I could see if maybe the Falcons, like, let's say maybe they finish, I don't know,
I think they win that
8-8.
division.
Let's say they finish 8-8, and they make the playoffs. Even if they win the division.
Yeah.
Probably not a Super Bowl team.
No.
Probably wouldn't get to the Super Bowl. I don't think it would be absolutely crazy to sit there next draft day and they trade Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
And they say, okay, give us a first or a second round pick. He had a great year. He can still throw the ball. He's still worth at least a second. I would say at least a second round pick.
Oh, if he
and you get out and you could go out and get a lineman or
if you can fleece the Jets because they like their older quarterbacks. He's not 39 like Aaron Rodgers. He's only 37.
That could be a perfect place for him.
New York market. I don't think he'd want to go to a New York market. So, I'm not sure about that one. Hunter, what do you got on this ATL Tampa Bay game?
Absolutely. I think that Tampa Bay is looking really, really banged up. A lot of guys questionable to play in this one. Bijan Robinson also has been limited, so he could miss this game on Thursday night. But I think I have to ride with both of you guys. Take Kirk Cousins. I just think that the Tampa Bay offense is probably going to be a little bit overhyped. I'm surprised that the line is like this. But after that big game against Tampa Bay, I don't like Baker to do it 2 games in a row. Little regression. I'll take Atlanta.
All right. Now, Dallas, Sunday night, they almost lost. They were the last Thursday night game, but they almost lost to the Giants when the Giants were only kicking field goals.
They sure did.
Justin Fields is going to light that defense up, I think. He's kind of rejuvenated. He's having some success.
Yeah.
Got a running back, got a hell of a defense, obviously. Yeah. Give me Pitt. 1.5, minus 1.5. I don't know why Pittsburgh is not getting the credit that they probably deserve. I know people are kind of scared. They're a little hesitant, but this should at least be a 3-point line.
I think there's a few reasons for people not jumping on the Pittsburgh bandwagon.
Well, especially against Dallas, though. Like, look at Dallas has not looked good. I mean, they look good one game.
No,
they
you're
look
right.
good one
You're
game,
right.
and that was against the Browns, who it's kind of like, it's like kind of like at the beginning of the year looking good against Florida State.
But I think there's more on the Pittsburgh side because essentially Justin Fields is the backup quarterback.
Right.
Now he is starting.
Yeah.
And there's always this thing where like, well, Russ is hurt and he can't play. And it's like, I don't really buy that anymore.
No.
Like I just think Tomlinson I think it's indicative of what may be going on behind the scenes that they don't want to name Justin Fields the starter because they know they're paying Russell Wilson starter money.
Yeah, this is the second time I've seen this movie. This happened with Kevin Kolb and Michael Vick. Kevin Kolb went down, Michael Vick started doing really well. They were winning, and then all of a sudden, you never saw Kevin Kolb again.
Yeah, you don't even know who Kevin Kolb is anymore. I mean, I'm pretty sure he played for JMU, but I think I don't know that, folks. I really don't. But
he was like I want to say Texas A&M. He was some Texas school, whether it was A&M or
there's 50 of them out there.
Yeah.
Name your place in Texas. There's a college when they have football. But I think
oh, you lost thought. See,
all them
jokes, all them jokes, and now you trip yourself.
I just keep thinking of what to do. How can I interject JMU into this?
You're Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs right now. All right.
But getting back to the Steelers and the Cowboys, the Cowboys just haven't looked impressive, and the Steelers have. But I think the reason that you're not seeing love for the Steelers is because there weren't expectations put on them for this year, and there weren't not any high ones. And Tomlinson, people have been kind of asking questions about him, if he's going to stay or is he not. And now you got Justin Fields, and Justin Fields from his previous track record in Chicago, he can kind of implode sometimes. So I really think there's a lot of reasons that the Steelers aren't getting love, but they will get love this Sunday because they will beat the Cowboys. And like I said before, you're without DeMarcus Lawrence, you're without Micah Parsons. Those are two major contributors on your defense. Who's going to catch Justin Fields if he breaks out? If he breaks containment? Nobody. There's not one person on that team that's going to catch him.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, their run defense has been atrocious, and you can even throw against them now. I mean, those corners aren't as hot as they were last year. Hunter, what do you think about this game? Dallas is your closet favorite team. So,
absolutely. Going into this game, I think both these teams are banged up. I think you guys both failed to mention or realize how hurt and banged up Pittsburgh is in their own right, with a lot of guys out for this game. And so with that, I'm going to go Dallas plus 2.5.
Ooh.
I think that there is a field goal game waiting to happen.
Did it move?
Sunday night.
Hold on. Did it move?
It was
I'm seeing Dallas plus 2.5.
Oh, I had minus 1.5 around.
Oh, he's right. It was 2. When I checked it, it was 2.5 today.
Okay, so it moved. Okay, my bad.
So yeah, I don't know. It just seems like two teams that are banged up. I definitely see what you guys are saying with them not being able to stop Fields, but something just tells me two teams really banged up. Sunday Night Football, close game.
I mean, you almost lost to the Giants by field goals. I mean, that's the memory that I have in my head of how productive the offense in general was of the Cowboys. And the Giants defense is okay. It's definitely not the Pittsburgh defense. So what are they going to score there? You know what I'm saying? So
well, right now the Steelers are among the leaders in sacks, pressure, interceptions, and I mean they're going to force Dak to throw.
Right.
They're going to throw. They're going to force Dak to throw
uncomfortably.
And unfortunately, CeeDee Lamb, I don't know, is going to be able to bail you out of every situation.
And this game is in Pittsburgh, so that's kind of why. I mean, it's a 2.5 point line, so you're not wrong either way. Like I could see people betting Dallas because it's hopefully people are thinking, oh, they're bound to wake up sometime, right, and actually play football. And then there's Pittsburgh at home, so hey, I don't fault nobody for it. Last year's Hunter's favorite team, New Orleans, is on Monday Night Football against KC. We talked about it a little bit.
Do we even need to bet? I mean,
no, I'm going New Orleans 5.5. I'm gonna tell you why I'm going New Orleans 5.5, and it's way outside of the box. Kansas City has only scored 17 in the last game, and there's a trend of them going down. So I see them only scoring 13 to 15 points this week.
They're still going to win. They're still going to win. It don't matter.
But if they can be held to 13, I think New Orleans can score 10.
Primetime game. Monday night. Taylor Swift will be in the building. Looking for ratings. I find it very hard to bet against the Chiefs. When you got the refs on your side, you're at home. It's Monday night, prime time. The Chiefs got this one. Yeah.
Hunter? Are the Kansas City Chiefers? I mean, Chiefers are cheaters. Are Chiefs? Or what are we going here?
Cheaters?
Man, I like the way you think in Kansas City's offense not doing well. So I definitely don't mind the Saints with the points. But
the Saints have a pretty good defense.
They've only given up 20.
I could see it being close, 5.5. But I also think Eric's right, and just the fact that ratings for KC, it's in KC. The refs are always on KC. They got money on the spread. It is what it is. I really probably will I might put a little bit money on Saints plus a point just because I really want to see KC lose. But man, when you're playing a decent to good KC team with the refs that are never on your side.
I will say this for the Saints defense. They have only given up, and I looked this up, they have only given up 20 points in one game all season.
Yeah. And we're going into week.
That's it.
Going into week 5, so it's real. You know what I mean? It's being real.
Yeah, these are real stats. And but, bro, the refs.
But it's the refs.
Taylor Swift,
and it's in KC.
Andy Reid went to JMU. What else do you need to know? I swear to God, I will bust. And I promise this to every single person listening to this right now. If JMU loses this weekend, I am not going to make next week's show fun for them. He's going to
make everyone shut off the podcast.
I may go out and buy a JMU sweater if they lose this game, just so I can wear it.
Eric, I'll buy you a JMU sweater
Is that a bet?
Not in the game, but if they become a ranked team.
Okay.
All right. If they get ranked, I'll buy you a JMU sweater, and you'll have to wear it for every episode of the podcast.
Ranked teams.
Even if the Bears go to the Super Bowl, you can't wear a jersey during that podcast. It's the JMU hoodie all the way.
Ranked teams, sunshine, rainbows.
Even if it's for a day. If they hit 25 minutes a day.
Pots of gold. Black cats.
Yeah. Speaking of Halloween spooky stuff, we got the Ravens taking on the local team, the Bengals.
What?
It's a 2.5-point line. The Ravens v. Bengals?
No.
No? Who are the Ravens taking on? Oh, they got a bye week, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Why is my FanDuel acting up?
That boy Tony is tripping today, dude.
So who do the Bengals got then, Eric?
Is tripping.
Who do the Bengals have? Who do the Bengals have this weekend? I don't know. Who do the Bengals have this weekend?
Listen to us figuring out the stuff on the podcast, man.
Well, we can always edit this.
Actually,
I'm unscripted.
Oh, well, the Bengals do got the Ravens.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They play the Ravens.
You're a bunch of motherfuckers. I hate both of you.
Yeah.
I didn't think it.
I hate everyone. I was right. See, this is why I'm the host. You might talk better and smoother than me, but this is why I'm the host. I'm prepared.
Is it at Baltimore? Or is it at?
It's in Cincinnati.
It's in Cincy.
And it's a 2.5-point line, which is a Ravens line, because Ravens are favored. Yeah, and they're on fire, and they're hot. They're finally putting it together. The MVP is back, baby. I'm taking the Ravens minus 2.5.
Man, I struggle with this one. I really do, because I kind of feel like the Bengals are starting to get back on track too, and I really like they get. I mean, T. Higgins is now coming back. He's now back. You got Jamar Chase back.
But that Ravens defense is no joke, man.
But neither is Jamar Chase or T. Higgins.
And it's going to be a close
Neither
game.
one of them are a joke either. And
I mean, that offense lit up the Bills' defense.
look, I could easily see this going either way, but I'm going to go with the home team, and I'm going to go with the Bengals.
Okay, all right. Hunter?
Yeah, I think this is just another, like I said, for Dallas and Pittsburgh, close, tight game. 2-2 Ravens, 1-3 Bengals. Neither can afford a loss at all. For this game, I will be on the points with the Bengals, and I expect a really close game.
Okay, all right. Cleveland. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys let me know if I'm wrong. Cleveland is taking on Washington Commanders.
They are, in fact, doing it.
Okay.
They are.
All right.
I have notes on that one. Okay.
Just check it. I just wanted to check. But I am on the Commanders bandwagon right now. And if you, honestly, I am saying this now, there's never been a repeat division winner in the NFC East. And they're still not going to. But it's not going to be between the Cowboys and the Eagles this year. I think the Washington Commanders are going to win this division the way that they've been playing. They got an easy schedule. They got the easiest schedule because they were last in our division last year. And Jaden Daniels has looked awesome. I mean, for a rookie, he's looked awesome. They don't show any signs of slowing down. The defense is keeping up. We'll see when, they get to their division games and, really have to crack down. Like with the Eagles and the Cowboys and stuff like that, those are usually where the Giants are nobody, so I'm not really worried about that. But I'm taking Washington -3. The Cleveland hasn't shown me squat. Despite Deshaun Watson did play well last week. I don't think they lost that game because of him. Maybe he missed his massage appointment and didn't have anything else on his mind. But I still think Cleveland, being in Washington, loses this game, and I think Washington covers the 3 points. You look like
I love Washington. I love Washington in this game. Like I mentioned before, Jaden Daniels, been really high on him. High drafted in the Fantasy Football League. And he's worked out. I think he may prove to be the best quarterback out of that class. And so for me, I'm going Commanders, -2.5. Browns.
Should have been JJ.
Deshaun Watson, nothing.
Should have been JJ.
Hey, we'll wait till next year to add JJ to that conversation.
Remember people coming after me when I said that JJ was going to be better than what's his name? Whatever that kid's name is.
He's from JMU.
Who is?
I don't know the guy you're talking about.
Your quarterback, Williams.
Caleb, yeah.
Caleb Williams from JMU.
I also said that. Too.
I did hear something that Caleb Williams might have transferred in from JMU.
They're just such a powerhouse, and they
might as well. I mean, you got to start somewhere, and if you got to start somewhere, you got to start with the best. Start with JMU, and
I mean, you want to name some of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history? They all came out of JMU.
Just go down the JMU roster list, man. It's just back to back to back to back to back.
Where is James? I don't even know where they are. Where is this team? I don't know.
I couldn't tell you where
is it in the East Coast? I mean, it sounds like an East Coast team. I don't know. That's what it sounds like. I don't know. I don't know. Are they an East Coast team?
Well,
Virginia. I think
Virginia.
Yep.
Okay, so they are East Coast. Okay, I was right. It sounded like an East Coast team.
Yeah, but they're Mountain East Coast. That's a different kind of East Coast.
Yeah, that's a
So Detroit has a bye. The Eagles have a bye, and the Chargers have a bye. So Eric, that leaves your Bears taking on the Red Rifle.
Uh-oh.
I'm taking the Panthers +3.5. I'm taking the Panthers +3.5. I'm doing it.
Good for you.
Just to spite Eric.
Good for you.
Andy, I'm gonna get Eric and Andy Dalton jersey after they beat the Bears this weekend.
Okay, well, let's break this down. Okay, you've got Andy Dalton versus probably one of the top 5 secondaries in the NFL.
Chuba Hubbard, though, the running game.
Hold on, we're not talking about a running game. We're talking about Andy Dalton, and Andy Dalton is going against one of the top 5 secondaries in the league. And there's no running threat from Andy Dalton. He stands in the pocket, and quite honestly, I think Marcus Sweat is going to feast on the Red Rocket. And I think when the Red Rocket does throw a pass, I think Jalen
He's
Johnson
gonna feast
is
on the Red
going
Rocket.
to.
I wonder how
Yeah,
Sweat would
that
feel
was-
about that. He's gonna feast on
Now that I'm thinking about how I worded that, Market Sweat's gonna
take him out.
I think
Take him out and eat the Red Rocket. Gotcha.
I think actually this will be one of the easier games for the Bears to play, and I could see them winning by 10.
They're gonna get mollywopped now.
Well, then we have ourselves another bet.
No, we're not gonna do another bet with
We have
you.
another
No.
sandwich bet.
Nope.
Yes, we do.
Nope, I'm not betting.
No,
with you.
y'all, no, because y'all wanted to sit here and tell me how great of a quarterback Andy Dalton is, and how he's resurged himself into becoming one of the greatest quarterbacks in the league of NFL, and he overcomes all the obstacles, and he parts the seas, and he makes the rain fall down when he waves his arms, and it's all great stuff.
Hunter, did this man not say last week that it was going to be a comfortable win for the Bengals by 20 points? It was not a comfortable win though.
They
That
won by 10.
points were scored in the last.
They were up by double digits before the end of the game. Were they not?
Yeah, but you said comfortable 20-point win.
Well,
Comfortable 20-point win is not 10 points. Listen, points matter. Points matter. Just
Well,
like
I didn't have Red Rifle on my bingo card for topics we would debate over. That's for damn sure.
I'm not debating that. I'm just saying the Panthers are a better team with him as quarterback, and that's why they're going to cover the spread.
You're right. They are a better team with him at quarterback.
I just don't
You're
know
right.
what I don't know what
You're
redhead.
right.
I don't know what redhead.
Right. You're right.
Did you go to camp and get molested by a redheaded man?
How?
Oh man,
I never went to camp. How?
He didn't say nothing about getting molested by a redheaded man, though.
It's almost surprising that Cincinnati let Andy Dalton walk out the door. He's had so much success since he's left Cincinnati that it's almost unbelievable that Cincinnati would make the huge mistake of letting Andy Dalton walk out the door and drafting someone like Joe Burrow. It's crazy
Patriots
to think
let Tom
about.
Brady walk.
It's
Don't give me that.
so
Patriots let
crazy
Tom Brady
to let
walk.
that
Patriots let
after
Tom.
he won 6 Super Bowls.
Well, they still let him walk if he was so good.
And
or
he
so bad.
retired.
But you're using the
He
excuse.
retired.
But no, he didn't.
Andy Dalton is still playing.
I think he might have retired
And
at some point.
Tom Brady retired. And that got him out of his contract with the Patriots, which allowed him to go to Tampa Bay.
I'm telling you, man. But your argument is Andy Dalton wasn't that good because Cincinnati let him go and the Patriots let Tom Brady go. So we really don't know. Andy Dalton is the redheaded Tom Brady.
When y'all start comparing Andy Dalton to Tom Brady, I'm out, and that's all I got to say about that.
Hunter, you're with me on the Panthers, right?
Guys, stop with the madness.
I don't know.
Do you guys
about all
believe
that.
what you're saying? Do you honestly believe what you're saying right now? You're sitting here putting Andy Dalton and Tom Brady into the same sentence, like they belong there.
Listen, I'm just saying.
Like they belong there.
Listen, he's going to be a Hall of Famer too.
Jesus. Yeah, we've taken this too far. What do
you got in this
definitely
game,
taken
Hunter?
this.
What do you got in the game?
What do you
You know
got?
what?
No, Hunter, you got it. You got to do it. Come on.
I got to ride with the rifle, man. Plus 3.5. I got to ride with the
I
rifle,
want
man.
someone to bet me so bad. I will give you. What's the spread? What's it?
3.5.
3.5. I will give you the points, but someone has to make a sandwich bet with me.
Nobody. Maybe call,
$10.
hit Kurt in the group chat. Hit Kurt in the group chat.
$10 right now. No, come on,
might.
come on. Y'all want it?
I'm gonna give.
Y'all want it?
I'm gonna take that $10 and I'm gonna put
$10.
it. I'm gonna put it in my FanDuel app, and then I'm gonna bet the Panthers. I'm gonna send you the screenshot of it too.
Who's got me? $10. Who got it? Who got that bet?
Kurt, K-Mac.
Kurt,
Who got that bet?
K-Mac got
Nobody.
it.
I'll tell you what
Hey,
bet
man.
I do got.
Yeah.
I got the Buffalo at Houston game plus 1.5. I'm taking Houston.
Man, I had that game too.
Did you? Do you got the other side or do you got Houston?
Well, the Bills are 3-1. Texas is 3-1. It's a measuring stick for both games, I think,
Right.
because they're both AFC contenders. The Bills just got blown out by the Ravens,
Right.
so that is not. But Texans have not looked particularly strong
Right.
this
I agree.
year. They have struggled in a lot of games. Their offense doesn't really seem to be playing at the level we thought they were going to be playing at.
Yeah.
So, but with the Texans at home, I got to go with the Texans.
Okay.
I like a home team. If both teams have the same record, I usually go with the home team.
Okay.
I just you
All
know.
right. Well, my second game is Green Bay at LA, the Rams. I'm taking the Rams +3. Green Bay is looking okay, but they still don't have a quarterback. LA hasn't looked that good this year. The Rams have not looked well. They had one decent win on their rap sheet, and that's the San Francisco game, the last-second field goal. They got some players that are hurt. I totally understand that, but they're underdogs +3 at home, and I'm going to take the home team with the points. They lost last week. Did they lose last week? They did lose last week.
They did.
So I'm just going to take them. Maybe they bounce back at home.
Maybe they do.
It's a flyer. So was that your only game that you had, Eric?
I had that one, and let's see what else. I had some written. You did take my game though. I will say that I had Packers and Rams, and we got to really start coordinating this a little bit better. Yeah, I mean, if you really want I guess a good game. I mean,
there's not a whole. I mean,
I know
there's not
it's
a lot
not,
this weekend that looked
there's
thrilling.
nothing really exciting.
You got the
going
first
on here.
London game of the season with the Jets and
beautiful 9:30 football. Woo!
Yeah, I'll be sleeping.
Yeah, I gotta admit, in both college and in the pros, there's just not like.
And you have that some weekends.
Yeah,
it just happens.
It's just not.
Hunter, what do you got on my 40, homie?
What was that you cut out?
I said, what do you got on my 40, homie? Yeah.
So I will. I like the Raiders this week. They're a +3 against the Broncos. Don't really like much about the Broncos. They played the Jets to a barely win, and I just think the Raiders, especially apparently earlier today, Devontae Adams requested a trade.
Yeah, he did.
So
we knew that was
statement.
coming. They've been talking about that since before the season started.
Right. I heard murmurs about it, but I can't believe it's week 4 or 5 and he's already requesting a trade.
Devontae Adams to the Jets.
Well, I could absolutely see it too. I could absolutely see it. Especially Rodgers, not looking the best. Let's try to give him some help. Especially because they're saying they only want like a second-round pick
At least
a second-round pick or something like that.
Yeah,
so I think
it's at least a second.
The Jets would make that trade,
They
but
probably would have to unload one of their players, which would probably be Reddick. I mean,
yeah,
they would have to do that. I mean, he's got a couple million on his contract. So
right.
See what happens. This could be a very interesting development before the trade deadline.
Yeah, because I think even Reddick, he's putting murmurs out there that he wants to go back to Philly.
I mean, what if the Chiefs try to trade for Javonte Adams?
I mean, you might as well. You give him the rest in the back pocket. You give him every receiver in the NFL.
If you gave Patrick Mahomes Devontae Adams,
right? But Andy Reid's not known for doing mid-season trades, and he's the GM.
Yeah, but you're going to trade for Devontae Adams if they pick up that phone and call you.
I had to deal with Andy Reid for 13 years. He's a stubborn, fat old bastard that doesn't like to draft.
He
that
wins
doesn't
Super
like to
Bowls.
trade. That doesn't.
He
yeah,
wins Super Bowls. I don't care if
not
he's
with
stubborn.
traded receivers, with drafted receivers. That's the problem with Andy Reid.
Andy Reid wins Super Bowls.
What's that got to do with anything?
I'm just saying.
He doesn't.
He knows
he doesn't trade. He doesn't trade mid-season.
He would if he had a chance to give his quarterback Devontae Adams. He absolutely would.
As he gave away Tyreek Hill. Let's just throw that out there. As he gave away
Tyreek Hill also asked to leave.
Well, so if he wants to win Super Bowls, they would have won more Super Bowls earlier. He'd probably be on his 5th one if he had Tyreek Hill.
Well, that's Tyreek Hill's fault because now he's playing on the Dolphins and.
Listen, Andy Reid has red hair, so I take back you hating red hair men. Okay?
Well, I'm sorry, I don't like. I'm sorry, I don't like mid quarterbacks, man. I don't enjoy watching a 50-year-old Andy Dalton get up there and try to act like he's still playing quarterback.
So Hunter, he doesn't like mid quarterbacks. He likes to watch good quarterbacks play. But who's his 2 favorite teams? We know this on the podcast. What's his 2?
JMU and
JMU. That's
the Panthers.
it. I can't wait to watch these videos tonight. I'm really looking forward to learning all about JMU. I really am.
You gotta.
They might have their new biggest fan. I don't know.
Nice. Now we're talking. See,
I bet
Eric.
I bet I can buy a jersey from Goodwill for $10 down the road. That's
You probably have to go to.
Whoa.
I'm pretty sure I can find a JMU jersey cheap.
Yeah, you might have to go to Virginia for that one though.
No.
All right. All right, my soccer picks pissed me off last week, so I'm not going to. I didn't do any. So this Premier Parlay this week is going to be just a small one. We're going to take it easy after Man City wanted to dump shit all over me. We're going to go over to the Premier League and grab Arsenal at a minus 750 against Southampton. We're going to go grab Man City at a minus 470 against Fulham. And then we're going to head over to the La Liga and get Real Madrid minus 470. And then we're going to go get Barcelona at minus 190. Wrap that all. It's going to be a nice plus 150 plus money. Throw $10 or throw $100 or $1,000, whatever you want to do on that if you got that kind of money to spend. And do the Premier Parlay pick of the week. All right, guys. Well, that was fun.
Beautiful.
Yeah, no, the Premier Parlay, I usually hit on soccer pretty well, and then I didn't touch Man City for like a week, and they won every game, and then last weekend I put some money on them in a parlay again, and they fucking not lost, they draw, and that still counts. They have to win,
Yep.
you know. So, yeah, that's my favorite team. So we're at odds right now, and if listening to these odds, if you enjoyed this episode of the Shekle Up Podcast, please go like, subscribe, and share all of our social media, all of our content, like Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. Go head over to Apple Podcast. They're one of the few places where you can leave a written review. We like reading those. Please leave us one. If it's bad, I don't care. Go ahead and do that too. At least you're
They're funny.
interacting.
They're funny and you're interacting. So let us have it. Let us have it.
That's funny. If you have any cares, questions, or concerns, please email us at shekleupodcast@gmail.com. You can find Kurt and Hunter at everything on Made on Ridgeway Sports Podcast. You can go and find Eric at Night Talk on Facebook. Do you have a Twitter for Night Talk?
I sure do. It's elapreet at jmu.com.
Okay, well, I help people actually go through that.
Too.
You can go, speaking of Twitters, you can follow Hunter at Hunter_Keister4, K-Mac at K_Mac. You can follow myself at Annie Up Anthony. And thank you for listening, everyone. And remember, do not bet your mortgage